month of December and January. This one is more focused on career, money, finance. So just going to get right into it. Sorry, just trying to adjust the camera a little bit here. Not set up all that great. Anyway, I will just try to, if something happens, I'll just redo. So anyway, I'm just going to get right into it. So what I see here, and I've pulled them out into 4 different piles just for the sake of time. I never have a lot of time, so I'm just going to go as I go. So what I see here again, you're in the energy for the month of December through to January and probably a little further out. I did pull a lot of clarifiers. I feel for myself, the clarifiers really indicate that is more to come. The current energy that you're sitting in is transformation. So anything that's in around like I said, the death card is quite significant because it does mean you're in a stage where you're having to kind of reevaluate life and really delve into, and it could also represent a Scorpio individual that you might be dealing with here as well. But on a spiritual level, you're kind of going through a period of release, looking at your it's of course tying things up into the end of the year. So of course there's all that, also that aspect of taking a look at the previous year and the relationships that you've had and the difficulties and the challenges and trying to figure out the true meaning of things, and all of that sort of falls into place with the card of spirituality and transformation with the death card. So you are in some period of metamorphosis for sure. And again, asking yourself the big questions and trying to release things and let go here, of course, with the Eight of Cups. The idea of letting go doesn't necessarily mean full cutting free, but certainly finding ways around doing activities that would be less restrictive, finding ways to go through a situation where you're more so rolling with the situation, letting it roll off your back versus, taking on the fight and charging through. There is certainly that card of perseverance here with the strength card, but you're really at a time in your life where, again, you're kind of trying to recoup maybe some of the losses and trying to, um, you know, trying to figure out the areas that you still have remaining that are your strengths that you can sort of build on. This is definitely, again, still looking at some of the things that may have been cycles where you were in an emotional rut, or there may have been things that you had to, you know, really change your mindset over. So again, transformation is a fairly deep card. It's a major arcana. So whatever it is that you're going through at this time is really a huge transition and a rebirth, something regenerative. It's not going to be something that you go back to necessarily. I'm not saying you won't entertain things or entertain thoughts or, get in touch with people again, but it certainly does indicate that those relationships or your idea around belief systems, that kind of thing, have led more to a permanent change, even regardless of whether or not you revisit it. You have on the outset made some kind of significant change around an old mindset or an old lifestyle or an old belief. So again, this is where you're not really slamming a door, but you're certainly, making room for entertaining new ideas about how you're going to be going forward. So you realize now at this point that what you were doing in the past has no longer, it hasn't improved your situation. So basically, you're looking for ways to kind of breathe again and find a way to see the truth in situations and work from that point. Again, you're in the stage of starting to create a whole new life for yourself. It doesn't mean everything changes overnight, but this is a pretty strong period of growth. But you're right now in that place where you're having to release a lot of the baggage and able to allow for new things in. So when I say that you're in a space of regenerating, this is where you are starting to put the past behind you. You are starting to make way for new change. And again, that means that you're releasing, it means that you're trying to accept things, that can't be changed. You're trying to, you're doing what's required to be able to turn things around in your life. And again, these aren't superficial changes. These are definitely things that are going to be pretty impactful because it's really at the core of what you believe and who you are. Um, so it's big growth, but again, with that, it's also painful growth because you realize letting go of things, letting go of the familiar, is something that we can often resist. But because we also have below another clarifier with the Nine of Swords, again, normally it's kind of a persevering card, but you're in a different place in your head with that. So, anyway, that's where the main energy I see is. Impacting you the most in the month of December to January. And again, some of these clarifiers will kind of magnify a little further out. I mean, the strength card is not your main card, but it is something that you will still be lightly kind of tapping into in terms of your energy for this period. When I say the strength card, like I said, I mean, there's been a lot of resilience on your behalf to pass through something. Um, but it's also about taming the ego and, just allowing things to change your character on some level. There could be a Leo here as well that's relevant, but it is still about trusting in your own abilities. And you now have a certain level of strength that you can tap into and exercise some control over yourself and in the heat of a moment or that kind of thing. But this is also that strength from within, period, right? It's where you're tapping into new knowledge, you've got new belief in yourself. And it certainly is speaking to raw courage to have had, to have faced something and been able to overcome. So, either way, you're trying to endure, release. There's more self control here. You're overcoming obstacles. You're starting to again, be a little bit more persevering, but in a different sort of way. Not persevering with strength necessarily, but persevering through something by release, by virtue of releasing things that you realize are inhibiting you from going forward. So it's looking at your blockages, and again, it's asking the big questions. What can I accept about the situation that I cannot change? What can I release about the situation that is currently blocking me or creating an obstacle? How do I circumvent or overcome or go around or deal with a situation in a new way? So it's again your ability to persevere, but by way of release instead of charging through with an aggressive, brave kind of attitude. It's not kind of conquest energy here. It's more of a settling energy for whoever this resonates for. Again, it may not speak to all of you, but again, it's a general read. So what I'm looking at here again is, where you're really starting to look at even your exercise or even your diet or anything as well that would have been holding you back. Speaks to you all a little bit differently. This is just the general energy surrounding you. So you've kind of gotten to a place now again when you're starting to release things, and there's been a lot of willpower, a lot of determination to have gotten to this space. But now you're also, looking at the nine, and you are at the nine stage, the stage of the nine. So it is a little bit, it's in reverse. So it does speak to me as the nine, I mean, normally with the nine, again, it's more of a persevering energy. So the nine of wands in reverse feels like it's less of a battleground. It's more along the lines of a space you can, it's a space that you can start to almost relax in. I don't want to say full on relax, but you're definitely in a space where you're not pushing through with any degree of aggression. Um, it's, part of it is as well with the Nine of Wands is it's kind of in that space of feeling like you are maybe lacking a little bit of strength to kind of keep going. And I feel that's because you have been overwhelmed with that level of perseverance. And maybe that's why you're in that space where you can actually let go of things, because there has been so much struggle to keep moving toward a goal, setback after setback, that kind of thing. So it's almost like you're at a stage where you're almost ready to give up with that Nine of Wands in reverse. But you know, you're so close to the finish line, it's not a time for you to give up. I don't feel like you're in any kind of financial difficulty or anything here. I just feel like it's almost, you know, it's almost that space where you're refusing to give in. There's a certain rigidity or stubbornness here, but at the same token, you know, it feels like you've faced so much disappointment or feeling that your efforts have really gone nowhere or not, you know, significant enough to appear as though something has moved in your favor. So it's almost like that level of fight is kind of been supplanted, like it's kind of in the background here. There could be some angry feelings here with all of this. You know, it's like the tough times, you've gone through so much and it's kind of crushed your spirit to a certain extent. However, on the upside, we are looking at the star card. So the star card is definitely you still in healing, you still trying to adjust yourself, you still trying to take a look at how to, you know, you're kind of entertaining a fresh start, but then you're still stuck in this energy. So it's a little bit of a push pull back and forth, but it's still a card of keep the faith, hold out. There is some balance and harmony kind of up ahead here, whether you see it or not. You're not in that energy yet, and that's probably why. You're very close to the finish line with the 9, but you're still just going through the transformation with the death card. So again, these other cards are further out. So it's not a place where you can actually see that the future is bright or see that there's any kind of inspiration or see that there's any kind of success or anything up ahead, because it's not within your view yet. I feel like you have a lot of talents here, and especially because you're kind of keeping your ego in check, there's almost a sense of transcending here as well, because you have spiritual purpose with the star card, and you're going through a massive period of transition here as well. So there's a certain level of potential here that is not just another day, not just another job. This is something that you're very connected to, that could speak to, you know, more leaving something in the world that has a strong resonance for many, or it could be healing energy to others, or however that comes through for you. But either way, this is still something of a healing card. So, and it does indicate that things are moving in the direction that they should, still on track, all of that. It does indicate that further out you will be finding those opportunities to make more positive plans, and find that there is some doors that will open for you. You know, new opportunities will be coming up ahead. But again, you're still in the place of not being open to those opportunities because you're still feeling like you're in a bit of a struggle or a hopelessness, feeling defeated. So again, it's a little further out yet, but you will get there. Um, it is still a card of feeling like there is going to be some kind of renewed commitment to something here with that, where things can grow and that things will work out better than you expect. So that's just the first combination of cards here. And I will go through some other ones here and just kind of, well, maybe I'll just kind of quickly go back to the main ones here. So, so the main cards, again, were the death card, as well as sort of that departure with that Eight of Cups. So, I mean, that card in itself does indicate there's a level of change. And again, there's a certain sense of fear, that kind of an anxiety that kind of goes around any kind of, you know, big changes and transitions, because you are having to release things from your life to allow yourself to move forward. So you're seeking that release right now. And again, it's encouraging you just to embrace this time of change, because this is going to be a very significant time for you. So it's a new level of learning. You've learned certain lessons, but now you're not just implementing lessons, you're also having to strongly resist yourself from uh, taking on some of the too much of the negative energy that may have come with those lessons. So you have to release the negativity and the anger and the, whatever the heaviness of those emotions were that came from learning those lessons, so that you can actually put the new lessons into effect. So again, this is a time of transformative change, but it's again leaving behind or moving toward the things that will bring you into a new journey. So again, there's a lot of energy about you not being there yet. You don't see things because the other cards that I had mentioned here are further out. And you're all going to be learning these lessons at different times. You're not all on a every week you move into this new energy. So again, just be aware that these new beginnings, kind of take hold for you at the time, depending on the things that you have around you. For example, some of you may have more supports in place. Some of you may have a little more resources or whatever it is. And so you may accelerate through some of these changes a little faster, whereas others, it might take a little bit longer to let go of the past hurts or the situations that kind of hinder your growth. So either way, you are going in the right direction. Just know that this period is necessary, and most of it is about letting go of the negative minds that are the heavier energies that are creating blocks for you right now. So just it's kind of about trusting the process and embracing change and keep walking toward a more fulfilling future. Now the next cards out are pretty amazing here. So I wanted to do this read in particular because I thought the last one was a little bit heavier and more internal. This one's a little more along the lines of your finances and your career. So I feel like the changes that are taking place for you at this time are definitely more so around what makes you happy. So I am not seeing a huge amount of pentacles. Not to say that there isn't, but there's tremendous happiness that's coming through. So there is definitely something that is prompting here that is going to allow you to create a new start in your life in some way. You are seeking, the ultimate sort of happiness here. There's wish fulfillment that's coming in sometime in between the period of December to January. Some of you, it might be a little further out, but there is some level of wish fulfillment, something that you've wanted that's going to be arriving here in this period of time where you can take advantage of it. Um, and it's not only that you had the Nine of Cups. Further out, I actually did pull the Ten of Cups. So there is a sequence here. And again, you've got two nines. So the fact that there's two nines, there is significant change around both around your happiness as well as around your energy levels, that kind of thing. But again, we are looking at the Ace of Wands and the Nine of Cups, and then the rest are just the clarifier. And the Tower may be a little further out. It's not quite reaching you yet, but it is still, you're still in this period where the Nine of Cups is indicating that you are, you're seeking some sense of re-energizing kind of energy. You do have a solution to a problem for sure, something that is coming in terms of wish fulfillment. That Ace of Wands does sort of speak to a lot of potential and creative energy behind new projects and things that you are pursuing. And I feel like you are in a wild pursuit to, conquer your dreams at this time. So again, the Nine of Cups is still a lucky card. It's a wish card. It's all of those things where you can tap into parts of yourself in this period where you're actually you are finding happiness, you are finding fulfillment. There is satisfaction that comes through with that combination. So there is a wish or a desire that's coming through, like I said, and it is going to allow you to feel like you have come to terms with some sense of success in your life. Now, I'm not saying I'm seeing huge amounts of money or anything like that, but there is some kind of a new start in a number of cards here. So not only do we have uh, the wish fulfillment attached with a new start, a new creative start, but we also have in the next set of cards the Page of Pentacles. It's a grounded start. It's a really practical thing that definitely comes with money. It's more of an introductory sort of move into something here. But it's almost like there's going to be a suddenness with the Tower card. Something suddenly is going to move things ahead in a pretty rapid way because it does follow with the Two of Wands. So we'll kind of go back to, again, just the wish fulfillment card. It's an extremely positive card. It is signifying that there is a new beginning with something that you are quite taken with and you've got a lot of enthusiasm for. It is definitely pursuing a dream with a lot of energy and encouragement. And I do feel like this is going to be moving in a very positive way. I mean, I guess I could take this in a couple of different ways because that tower, and again, the tower is certainly something that can be something unsettling. I'm not saying it's not the major arcana, it's not where you're sitting at right now, so it's nothing that you have to deal with currently. It is something that's coming up ahead, however. Again, it's all going to resonate with you a little bit differently, but the tower is, of course, a card suggesting that something is going to cause a big change. It is going to be something that brings you closer to your destiny and brings you closer to happiness as well and wish fulfillment. So somehow with that, with the star card, somehow with the death card, somehow with this tower moment, all of these things kind of accumulate to some big wake up call. And it's going to be something that maybe you didn't think was going to be positive, but it's actually leading to a positive outcome. So there is going to be some kind of surprising event that is going to uh, move you in a new direction, but also it has a very positive underpinning, I suppose, is maybe what I would say there, to allow for a new chapter to come forward here. So, again, you're going through a lot of big changes, and not only in this next couple of months, and again, even though the tower's further out, you're just in the energy of releasing a lot of the negativity so that you can kind of, see what you're looking at, see what's positive, see what's good around you. But again, the tower moment is something that's going to come and it will, I don't see it doing massive destruction. What I see it doing is it's going to cause some kind of change, but the change is going to be for a positive, it's moving it toward a positive transition. Um, Again, it's the suddenness of the tower card that leaves people with a little bit of an unsettling kind of edge, right? Because it seems it's so unexpected. In some ways, we usually do get warnings all throughout. Whenever there is about to be a change of some sort, there's always warnings up ahead, but we choose not to see them. And when something does impact us, it seems like it's coming out of left field. But in actual fact, if you really take a look at all of the signs or the synchronicities around you, you can see that something is cumulative, something is building. And there's kind of like an inner anxiety or an inner knowing that we sort of sense before something is about to change. So you may be in that energy because of all that transition, but maybe we're so distracted by the big changes that we're having to make internally that sometimes it's difficult to also see what's up ahead in an external way. So not to beat yourself up over that because like I say, I mean, life is changing on a multitude of levels. Not any one specific area is the area that we can put the band-aid on because there's usually too many things going on to fix all the variables. But either way, there is a sense of like a sudden inspiration and a sudden move ahead in a positive direction. But again, it's like trying to sometimes just the suddenness of any kind of change leaves us feeling like we are lacking control in our life, and that's where that can cause a little bit of anxiety. So be aware, look at the areas of your life that you feel are undergoing change at this time, and try to make some kind of plan around those areas so that you are not too attached to any particular outcome and you can go with the flow a little bit in this new direction. So when we get to the Ace of Wands, again, that's still a card indicating that there's a lot of inspiration that you're focusing on. Certainly the card of any kind of ace is the new idea. It's the potential of something that's coming in still at the early stages, but it's a situation that is about to begin. So again, where you are right now is in the Nine of Cups energy. So there's a wish fulfillment that's coming through, and then the idea sort of moves it ahead with the Ace of Wands. So it's thinking in a new way. It's kind of a lot more optimistic that things are moving in a positive direction. Something new has kind of entered into this, into the mix, which is giving you a sense of feeling as though a new chapter is beginning here for you. So either way, there's a lot more enterprising energy. Some of you, it's going to be entrepreneurial. Others, it's going to be some kind of growth and expansion in a project or a work situation. But either way, there's initiative to go, move in a particular direction. Also, again, I see more wish fulfillment versus monetary gain in this period of November, December. But I'm not saying that there's nothing there, because in the next set of cards, we're getting to that. But most of this is about finding happier moments in the period of November to December, or sorry, December to January. But again, you are undergoing some kind of a rebirth or some kind of transformative change, but most of it is about releasing a lot of that baggage. And again, every time we learn lessons, when we learn a lesson, you're not necessarily in the space of, okay, I've learned it and I'm ready to move on. It's, I've learned the lesson and now I'm angry because I have faced a truth or something has come in and now I have to adjust. I understand it, I see it for what it is, but it's still, there's a residual that kind of bears on the shoulder to, release before you can really not repeat that pattern again. I mean, you can identify it, but and able to not repeat it, or at least not draw more of that same negative energy, you have to find a way to release it. So you're kind of in that energy of working through still some of that transition, but wish fulfillment is going to help you bring that about. So again, you are in the energy of bringing, not only do we have the Nine of Cups, but there was also the Ten of Cups in here. So that is something that's going to bring you a lot of pleasure or happiness in this next period here. It's going to make you feel as though, again, wishes coming true. There's some kind of reward here, either way. It's just, again, it's going to be coming through in a very unexpected way, something that you were not prepared for, but you're getting what you wished for either way. So just trust that it's still moving in the right direction. And just as the final note here, again, we are still kind of moving into the energy of the Two of Wands. So with the Two of Wands, again, there's still a lot of momentum. You're standing at the doorstep, basically, to a new life. You're ready to kind of move into possibly a cooperative effort here with the two, but either way, you're kind of making a decision where you're just starting out on the journey. So again, moving in the right direction, but still, you're still in that energy of trying to bring things together, to make the right connections, to figure out who it is that you need to work with and able to make something come about, or financially needing to do a little bit more research to sort of smooth things over so that you can implement a strategy. It's like that kind of energy. So you're at that point where you're trying to connect the dots to improve things, but you are still, it's kind of a waiting period. The Three of Wands to me is where you've started actually doing a fair amount of something, and then there's the waiting period. But the two is still trying to coordinate everything and sort of break into the situation. So either way, that's where I feel like things are at. So something's giving you wish fulfillment, and you get a little bit of uh, inspiration and motivation to kind of move it ahead. And again, there's some bit of a suddenness that kind of takes you off guard with this new change. The other part of it is, again, to just to kind of recap, because this is really the cards that came out as the main with the clarifier. Um, Again, just to kind of recap, that Ace of Wands with that Nine of Cups energy is still, again, you on the path to success in some way, but it's a dream coming true, but it is something that you've wanted and you're achieving it in this period. So it's very extremely positive, motivating, faith-oriented kind of path that you're on. So just keep going in the same direction here, because it's the right one. We also have the next set of cards out, which, again, there's some clarifiers here too. But the card that came out was, I'll get to the other ones here in just a second. The card that came out was the Ace of Pentacles with the Seven of Cups. And again, seven can be sort of a magical little number here as well, however that resonates for you. I mean, magic has different connotations to everybody. So, but I mean, it does certainly speak to some options that are available to you and a lot of directions that you can kind of move yourself into. Whether you're seeing them here or not yet, I think it's still in the early stages. So you may have, you might still be in kind of that dreamy state of how figuring out how to work through something. A lot of distractions, overwhelmed, that kind of thing might still be a part of this whole picture. So I don't really feel like this is illusions necessarily because you have a practical start here with the Ace of Pentacles. So it feels like there is something here that is, you know, rooted in the material world, and it's definitely representing some kind of stability, but it's a positive sign either way that you are moving toward more of a financial security, more stability, more success, more abundance, something like that that's going to offer more prosperous sort of energy in this next cycle. There's also kind of an indicator here as well where uh, it's a small step. It's a small step with that Ace of Pentacles. Um, it is also kind of that reminder to stay focused on what's right in front of you and able to make it happen. So don't let yourself be distracted by the things that are around you at this time. Try to keep the focus narrow and a little more linear to kind of work through the problem or issues that you might be dealing with. But it is still a solution. I see like a couple of, there's an energizing solution. There's something that, is more passionate and exciting that revives you in some way. And then there's also something that's rooted and grounded here for you to actually latch onto and make real in the world, right? It's not staying in the mindset. It's not staying in an intangible um, realm. It's actually something that you can put into action. And I feel like that's what's happening here. From the period of December to January, you were actually putting in some practical step to move something ahead. So um, I feel like, again, you are maybe a little distracted with the Seven of Cups, but if you stay the course and keep this one focus, I feel like you'll realize that there is going to be something up ahead for you to accumulate. Um, something, like I said, something tangible to hang on to right now. You just have to grow it because the Ace of Pentacles is a card of, you know, incremental start of something, right? So something that's going to take a while to kind of manifest does indicate it's a card of autumn. So however that may resonate for you. Now we're kind of getting into the other cards again. These are clarifiers. You are going to have a successful um, achieving energy here with whatever this thing is that you're trying to move ahead. Um, because as I said, that Ace of Wands, sorry, not Ace of Wands, but the Ace of Pentacles. Well, actually, the Three of Wands in reverse, I mean, that really does indicate that there is, because usually the Three of Wands in itself to me represents some kind of period of slowdown. So it's where there's a waiting period, something like that. But because it's in reverse, this is kind of leaning into that direction of you started making some progress and then you felt like you weren't making progress. There was an obstacle or a delay or some frustration, something that got in the way. And then all of a sudden, you figured out how to get past that obstacle. So there was something that kind of got in the way. And maybe that was the tower moment, actually. Maybe there was something that kind of slowed the progress. You didn't realize that was coming in. It's still for your good, of course, because it does end up on a positive note, but it's almost like you have to find the way to make it positive. So something slowed you down, which looks like you weren't progressing, and somehow you found a way to advance it. And again, there's still a couple of cards that speak to collaborating and having to bring in some other people to kind of make that work out, because that card of lack with the Five of Pentacles is still in around the range of a change having to be made in around finances, feeling like you don't have enough, feeling like there's not enough prosperity, or there's not a lot of support. There's a lot of worry around, maybe being, I don't know what that is around exactly, because it seems to be around wish fulfillment. I wasn't going to say necessarily the stability of your life, uh, home, or anything like that. It seems like it's more around, um, feeling like you were going to be left out in the cold. You were feeling like you were not going to be advancing. You were feeling like you weren't going to get something, or you were left out of a situation where, that related around finances. Again, whether that was feeling destabilized in some way, or abandoned, or just feeling like there's a period of lack, it does feel like, again, once you collaborate with other people, it's almost like you figure it out and realize that you can stop worrying, and sort of mobilize your energy again in a different way. So there's a sense of sticking together, but there's also, the card of a water sign. You're dealing with a water sign. And again, there's the card of, now it's not in reverse, the Three of Wands. So you are advancing forward, but again, there's still a pause before it goes forward. So there is a water sign element here. And again, whether this is a father figure, whether this is someone that has, um, a sense of presence, in control of their emotions, or um, comes off in that way. And again, this could be involving a counselor, a psychologist, or anybody that's sort of healing energy, that kind of thing. Professional, somebody who's nurturing, compassionate, or again, just a water sign overall, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, that kind of thing. But either way, however this relates for you, it is still a mature energy, and it is still about big things coming in at some kind of higher level, that's in around the heart space. It's in around your wish fulfillment. It's in around even possibly family as well. I say that because the Ten of Cups shows up here as well. So there is a certain sense of, either you're mastering your emotions, or, but I don't even want to say mastering emotions, because a lot of the cards are just almost over the top with excitement. Like, whether it's expressed, I guess, maybe is the thing. I do see it, it's a Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands. Like, there's a progression here. So there is some level of it feeling as though you can express it, or feeling like you are closer to the dream, closer to something that you wanted. And again, it's like you had that little bit of an impact with the Tower moment, and then something kind of threw you off. And with that Three of Wands in reverse, feeling like you weren't, you hit an obstacle, or there wasn't going to be any progress. And then all of a sudden, everything opens up again, and there's some sense of improvement. And again, even if we're talking about things just on a mundane level, is in terms of how you start your day, and how fulfill the business that you have, or how move ahead in your work day. All of these things are still habits that are moving in a more positive direction. So again, there may have been some kind of a holdback in this period, but with that Tower moment, but everything starts to switch up. Okay, so let's go into the very last set of cards. So we are now into the final set of cards, which is the Ten of Cups. So these are amazing, because they do, again, these ones are the minor arcana. The big transition is where you're sort of sitting in terms of dealing with your emotions, or dealing with just life in general. But overall, this is about you really trying to pursue happiness in a big way, really trying to connect to something that is really going to fulfill you. Because with the Ten of Cups and that Knight of Wands, right next to one another, I mean, that's a combination that talks about a lot of energy and movement, that you're needing to also take these action to achieve your goals. You can't just sit on the couch and say, wish fulfillment, hit me. It's more along the lines of whatever you put out there, It's the action, it's the energy. The action creates the energy. And again, there's an opportunity in little windows that with that energy, when you put it into the right pocket, it explodes into a specific area of your life, which can really help generate new confidence or, stronger creativity, more ideas come through, even with this combination as well. So there's a lot more energy around being a little more spontaneous as well to achieve your success or to be happy. Take some risks. A little bit of risk taking is kind of up ahead here. Right now, you're still in that energy again of some transformation, releasing the things that are holding you back or the negative mindset or energy that's holding you back. But again, this is kind of covering the period December to January. So there's a lot more passion and creativity, this real strong desire to chase your dreams that you're kind of moving into. And again, I feel like you're going to take some risks to achieve those goals in this coming period, this new cycle. The Ten of Cups kind of reinforces that message as well, that you're on the right path. You will experience emotional fulfillment and happiness because everything is supporting those ideas. You're full of ideas. And there's a lot of action taking place here to kind of make that dream a reality. So just know that the energy is accumulating. So we're now also moving into a mature energy. Again, still further out. These are just clarifiers, but again, everything is moving into you need to sacrifice something to get to this new place. The fact that you are dealing with the King of Wands is an indicator as well that there's a lot of energy around um, like a mature soul, somebody who has the ability to manifest things, grow things. It's a respectful energy. Anybody who is in the king position, but definitely speaks to a lot of guidance, and it certainly is persistence, motivation. It's all of those things. So it's careful planning of a project, but more so to risk taking is really what I see as the main advice here. Trust yourself because this is inspired leadership here as well. And that's what's needed, somebody who's really charismatic and who takes a risk. And the action, of course, is always required. More wands in here, but they're you've got all of it together. You've got wands, you've got practical steps with the Ace of Pentacles, you've got transformation. It's like you're taking bold actions, taking control of your life. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius might also be relevant here as well, but this is really, could be dealing with an older person here also, but there's a lot of stability here in these passionate things that you're trying to manifest in this goal-oriented period. So again, I feel like you're overcoming a lot of challenges and you're really putting some action behind some really smart moves here to grow something. Um, Again, if we're dealing with anything that's around, and if we also have the World card here too, so I feel like you're overcoming challenges in a big way, and there's a bigger picture at hand. This isn't dealing with just small details. This is also looking at the big picture around your energy. So I feel like you're expressing yourself a lot more in this period in very small, like in practical ways, like small practical steps, but you might be dealing with more of a charismatic person here as well. So um, there is energy that still speaks to a sacrifice being made here with the Hanged Man. So I would still say just beware of that, or be aware of that, not beware. But it definitely speaks like into that energy of shift your perspective, change your mindset about things. Don't be too glued to a certain reality. Take a little bit of risk here. Be a little bit more open to this new destiny that's at play. This is something new for you, and I think that's where we always want to control a lot of the elements in our life so we're not confused about the new direction and we can start to prepare for it. But there is a sense of you needing to adjust your point of view and able to go forward here. So just know, keep that in mind. But it's, again, something that kind of speaks to um, just needing to kind of step back and look at the bigger picture in something instead of just jumping in. Step back before you take any kind of a risk. Step back, look at the big picture, because whatever the next move is, it's going to be, when you see the big picture, you're going to see how one move moves to the next, to the next, to the next. So you're not necessarily in the planning stage and organizing it. You're just supposed to step back, look at the big picture, and realize what the next step is, and then it'll kind of unravel, I guess, is how I would try to phrase that. But either way, you need to sort of change your perspective, because otherwise you're creating a blockage for yourself. And then things will start to move forward again. But again, you are taking action. There's practical action, there's transformation, there's release of old mental attitudes, that kind of thing. There is happiness here. There is definitely a lot of a lot of energy, of conclusive energy, like a lot of really finishing up of old cycles. Something new is definitely coming in for you, especially with the world energy, as well as the end card and the beginning card is transformation. So this is a huge cycle that has completed, and you're now in a whole other space here, because the world card is a card of completion, success, fulfillment. And so this is also long-term planning, long-term projects. um, could speak to travel. Usually I see a few other cards out here when I speak to that, but whatever it is that you've been waiting for is nearly there. Again, I see a lot of cards of 9, and you do get into the energy of the 10. So I feel like you have met with some of this success in this period, and it's just going to escalate from there. It's almost like you've had a taste of it, and now the whole world is sort of opening up for you. So there is going to be success through some form of diversification, but also stepping back to look at the big picture and see where your opportunities lay. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And maybe I'll just sort of finalize again with that last little bit with the 10 of Cups, because again, that combination is, very positive movement to achieve success. So just know that you're in the right space emotionally to really chase your dreams. And that's what this reading seems to be all about. Chase your dreams, take the action, trust in your abilities. You are filled with ideas, but there's also that message of, step back when you need to step back, and look at the bigger picture. That's how you'll figure out your next move. Anyway, keep moving forward. That's what I have for you, Libra, for the period of December to January. Again, some of the clarifiers are a little further out, but everything is moving in the right direction. Tower movement, or tower moment included. Just know that, just try to prepare yourself mentally for some of these changes. And like I said, the impact you'll see is going to be completely life changing. Keep moving forward.